What makes a good detailing product? What makes the best detailing product? So what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan TheOrganizer. So today we're going to be having that very important discussion and a lot of controversy, lots of debate. A lot of people talk about that, and it's going to be important for you guys to share your thoughts and opinions as well. So feel free to drop a comment in the comment section under the video before I start, because I'm curious to know what are the most important factors when you guys decide to purchase a product, and you're going to see why that's important in a few minutes. And so yeah, appropriately today, I'm sitting in front of a few of my car detailing products. A lot of my car detailing products. I mean, yeah, it's an obsession. It's okay. I admit it, it's a problem. It's a problem by now. But I'm sure you guys can relate if you're watching this video, right? We're passionate about car detailing, whether you're a weekend warrior, a beginner watching the videos, if you're a professional car detailer, regardless, at the end of the day, we love detailing our cars or our trucks, our SUVs, basically our vehicles. And ultimately, everybody is always on the hunt, myself included, to try and figure out, is there a holy grail out there? What is the best of the best? We're constantly trying stuff and updating our detailing arsenals as well. And it seems that every day of every week, there's either a new pop-up brand somewhere or a new product, a new technology that comes out. And we're trying to stay afloat by learning about all that stuff, right? Hence why there are a lot of car detailing channels on YouTube. And so we're going to try and, have a debate, demystify a lot of stuff as well, and I'm going to break it down in 5 categories, so 5 topics today. The first one being criteria. So there are subjective measurements that you can quantify to establish if a product is good or not. Then there are the subjective ones, so basically your personal opinion based on your experience in life, your emotions, your thoughts, and that kind of stuff. Topic number 2 is going to be, how do you find the best product? So are there any ways or methods that we apply to try and figure this out? Topic number 3, and a big one, is what are the variables that influence the results that you guys might be seeing at home? So you've seen companies out there have claims of 7 years of durability, or a pH resistance from pH 2 all the way to pH 13, easy application, basically all the claims in the marketing, right? But how do you navigate through that? And does that mean that you're automatically going to have the same results? If you don't have the same results, why is that? So we'll be talking about that. Number 4, we're going to be talking about, is there a holy grail? So does the holy grail exist? So one magic brand to rule them all, or one product to rule them all, and why so? And last but not least, when it comes to durability. So whose responsibility is it ultimately to make sure that the durability claims are correct? But more importantly, through my discussions with a lot of chemists in the industry, one question that I always had that I'm going to try and help answer to you guys, and that they answered was, well, how do you test for those claims, right? How do you come up with a 7-year durability claim, or a 5-year durability, or a 6-month durability? How do they establish that? So a lot of information. So stick around from the beginning all the way till the end. It's a fun and entertaining one. And there's going to be a lot of topics up for discussion. So you know the drill. Without further ado, stay tuned. Let's go ahead and start the show. So hey guys, I'm Pan. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys are having a great day, so we're going to dig right into it. But before we go ahead and do so, if you're new to my channel and haven't done so yet, or if you've been watching my videos for a while and simply didn't consider clicking the subscribe button that's found under this video, and that way you'll subscribe to my channel and never miss my future videos, especially if you want to continue to learn more about car detailing, all the products, equipment, tips, tricks, and techniques. Okay, so let's dive into the topic right away. So we're asking basically, what is a good detailing product, or how do you determine if something is the best detailing product, right? And so the first topic at hand is the criteria. So are there any criteria or things that you can establish to kind of determine that? By the way, you're going to want to share this video with your friends and family, or any detail-oriented people that absolutely love detailing, because I think it's important to get this conversation going and get everybody's input. And again, I will highly recommend that you leave a comment in the comment section under the video, basically letting me know What are your most important factors when you're considering the purchase of a product? So what are you looking for? Or is there something that's on your list that is an absolute must? Because with the reach of this channel now, by the way, we're over 600,000 subscribers and over 70 million views at this point. Thanks to you guys. Again, thank you. We've made this one of the biggest car detailing channels on YouTube. Hopefully my passion comes through the screen and I can give you the detailing bug. But with the size of the channel and its global reach now, there are a lot of brands who are looking into what we're doing, that are reading comments, by the way. So some people might think that your comments don't go unseen. I know I try to respond to all of them personally every day, but they also read the comments. And well, believe it or not, some of them have developed some products because you guys were asking for them. I have a few companies in mind, but I can't say no more, but I know they're working on stuff based on your comments. So it's important because that's how they get the feedback as well. Sometimes it might just be that, hey, this soap is a bit too thick or viscous. Can you make it a bit lighter or runnier? We don't like the smell of this, or the smell of that one is way too intense. Regardless of what, or maybe they forgot to come up with something in their lineup. So you love a brand, but say for example, they don't have a glass cleaner or a wheel cleaner and you guys would love that. Well, they can look into that and basically come up with stuff to fill in a gap that might be in their lineup. So as far as the criteria goes, the first one usually is the objective one, right? So the criteria that we can measure, either with instruments, with not necessarily experience, but with your eyes sometimes, or touching the actual product. So one that comes to mind is the price. So what is the value, right? So when we discuss price, there are inexpensive products and there are very expensive products. So I'm sure a lot of you seek value. So you don't necessarily always have to buy the most expensive product to have a good result. Sometimes you get entry-level products that will kick ass, right? To say, not say bad words there, but there are other factors as well, like gloss, right? So you can measure that with a gloss meter. I still prefer the effect, and people ask me, why do you still prefer your eyes, right? Doesn't everybody want to measure with a measuring device? Well, the pro detailers out there that use the gloss meters, that I'm sure they can attest to this. There are some things that a gloss meter can attest for. So the gloss meter ultimately will look for the gloss as far as the light reflection on the surface. So the glossier the surface, the higher the gloss units or the gloss reading, right? They look for haze, a bunch of other stuff as well, clarity, but essentially it's looking for an increase in numerical value. However, sometimes there's more to that than just the numerical value. There's the visual appeal. So there's going to be products that are going to give you a warmer tone, a warmer look, a richer feel or a richer effect on the paint as well. Some will give that candy gloss effect. So you have to take that with a grain of salt as far as gloss increase, because again, you have to attest with your own eyes what that product does. So time and time again, I've seen products that give a bump in increase in gloss from 8 to 10 units, which is technically you should be able to see the difference, but you look at the paint and you're like, I don't really see a visual difference in compared to what it looked like before. And other products will either give you no gloss increase or maybe a loss of 2 gloss units, which is not terrible, or the human eye can't see the difference. However, visually though, when you're looking at it, you're like, it looks so different. It has that candy-like effect or that wet look, or it seems richer, or it has that jettoning effect, right? That darkening of the paint as well. And so it's half-half. It could be measurable, it could be objective, but then you also get the durability. Whew, that's a tough topic, which we'll also discuss later on in the video separately because it's very important. So durability is one. So a lot of people, it's a very important one for them. So do you want something that's going to last a few months? Let's say like a Carnauba wax traditionally, which lasts 2 to 3 months. Are you looking for a synthetic paint sealant that will last classically 5 to 6 months? Are you looking for a silica spray sealant from 6 to 12 months of protection? Ceramic or graphene coating, multi-year semi-permanent layer of protection. So now we see stuff like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years plus, right? So for some people, it's very important. Now, it depends who. If you look at me, for example, I get a brand new car every 3 years. So for me, something that's going to last 7, 10, 15 years or a lifetime on the vehicle is not as important. Yeah, it's cool if you do have a product that actually lasts in real life, but there are also some factors and variables. So not everybody will reach the maximum durability claims. And when some people get frustrated, right? Like, oh, they promised 6 months and it didn't even last 3 months on my paint. This is a garbage product. No, it's not. There are so many variables, guys. And you're going to understand later on in the video why exactly. And I think when you understand why things happen, and you kind of get the gist of, okay, there's reasons why. It's not because the product is necessarily garbage or the company doesn't know what they're doing. There's a lot of smart chemists working out there, believe me. And a lot of chemists, by the way, work for some companies that blend their own products, and some other companies use a third-party blender. That's also very common. So it doesn't really matter ultimately. What we want are good products in the end. Who cares if it's company A in this country or company B in that country making the product? I don't really care for that. I don't play with those semantics. What I want basically is a good performing product. And there are tons of them. This is just a small portion of my collection, by the way. It's beyond a problem. And what you saw at the beginning in my garage, that's just maybe, 20%? I have products all over the place. My girlfriend, I'm very sorry. If you're listening to this, it is what it is, right? That's my passion. Okay, so what else? We have chemical resistance. So in the measurable ones, basically throwing a different amount of chemicals from the acidic range to all the way up to the alkaline range. So anywhere from pH 1 or pH 0 all the way up to pH 14 on the entire pH scale. Again, it's not super important for everyone, because, I mean, you're never going to submit your vehicle in real life to an onslaught of chemicals. So take those tests more maybe as a slight indicator of performance or durability. I know I wouldn't solely rely on those. I've done some myself, and that is in no way for me a clear indicator of the best performing products out there. Because again, as you're going to see, hopefully, and you're going to take away from this video, is that there are many factors to make one product. You cannot just consider durability alone to conclude that this product is the best. There are many other factors. So you're going to have gloss, you're going to have durability, you're going to have the scent sometimes, the feel to the hand, the ease of application. Do you like the company? Some people just want to collect the entire products from one brand because they believe in the brand. They've had positive experiences with them, and they just became to love what that company does. So, and that's fine. And others like me, I prefer to have many different companies and many different products because I like to basically pick and choose what I think is the best from each brand. Another criteria that might be important to some is safety, right? Your health. Some people are very attached to things like the SDS sheets, so the safety data sheets. Basically tells you the chemical composition of the product itself and what's in it. Obviously, guys, we're dealing with chemicals here. So I don't attach too much importance to that. For those of you who might have seen my life story video on my channel, I have a background in biochemistry and molecular biology. So working in a lab is a thing that I got used to, right? And exposed to many different chemicals and way harsher stuff than what they use in the detailing industry. And so as long as you take precautions, right? So you're gonna see me in my videos, I always wear gloves. That is the first line of defense. You don't want those chemicals going through your skin. When I see detailers using all those chemicals without any protection for the hands, that's the bare minimum, guys. Believe me, there's stuff that can penetrate. Your skin is not impermeable. So that's one key safety. If you can, wear safety glasses. I know in many of the videos I don't because it's for the camera, obviously, and masks. So yes, when you're applying a ceramic coating, those are very heavy in chemicals. You can get toxic fumes or kickback, of course, depending on which product there. But safety precautions, so gloves, eyewear, a mask, all that kind of stuff. Of course, work in a well-ventilated space. So I'm lucky here in my big garage. There's a bunch of stuff to make the environment a lot safer as well. If you're detailing outside, well, fine, you're ventilated automatically. So there's those facts. Then there's the subjective factors, right? So for example, the ease of application. So that's going to be linked a lot to preparation. We're going to talk about that later on in the video. But the ease of application, sometimes people struggle with, this wax didn't go on super easy. And then, I don't know, it was rough. And when I was buffing, it wasn't coming off easy. Well, did you do any prep to your paint first, right? So there can be a lot of contamination on the vehicle. So embedded contaminants from industrial fallout, exterior pollutants. You can have paint overspray. You can have things like brake dust, rail dust, tree sap. You can have acid rain deposits, minerals, a bunch of crap. So you can use an iron remover, a tar remover, a clay bar, basically to start prepping the paint. Then if you have any imperfections or oxidation, things like machine polishing or hand polishing to remove those imperfections and oxidation, you're basically correcting the surface to level it right. That's how, by the way, you get the most increase in gloss on your paintwork is through machine polishing. So when you're leveling that surface, you get a better light reflection, and so it appears a lot glossier. So yeah, those are another of the points. And then, so if you prep your paint correctly and you follow all the steps, you should get a decent result. So that's one thing you have to consider on the subjective part. Next, there's things like scent. So this is so personal. So of course, some people like unscented things, like a lot of stuff in life. Some people just don't like perfumes, and that's fine as well. So you might want to try and find a product that suits your scent profile if you don't like any scents. And some scents are overwhelming, overpowering, and we don't like that as well. And it can be a positive thing too. So a lot of brands focus on making the detailing experience more positive. And one of those ways is making the product smell right. Remember your favorite shampoo, and you smell that, either a fruity look, a tropical smell, whatever it may be. You guys remember that, and it draws you back to that positive experience because it's supposed to be a soothing one. When we're detailing our vehicles, hopefully, it's a relaxing and soothing experience. You forget about your everyday woes and you focus on the task at hand. So why not have something that smells good? Then there's slickness. So although it can be measured to some extent with drag resistance and that kind of thing, it's also very subjective. So a wax will not have the same slickness feel as a ceramic coating does. So one might feel more silky, one might feel more smooth, one might feel more slippery. So it depends what you guys like. There's then the appearance of the brand and their packaging or their marketing. So I know some people love to have nice looking bottles on their shelves, a uniformity or something that looks the same or identical. That's for you, Matt, from Obsessed Garage, my friend Matt. So I know he loves to have the same style bottles, even though there are different types of products inside there. He likes to have the same bottles and different labels on them. I'm somebody who just likes a colorful background with a bunch of different products from different companies. Some do a great job with their packaging, and some don't. Some are just like horrible 1980s style labels. I'm sure you know which brands I'm talking about. What else do we have? Customer service experience. That is another key one. Once again, to take with a grain of salt, because you might have had a very good experience with that company and you see no issues, and another person might run into a super problematic issue. So they tried to reach out, never gotten an email back. Is that email stuck in the junk box? Was it unfiltered? Did somebody simply forget to read it? Did it go through? Was it a problem with the network? Or they never call you back? So if it's actually a company that doesn't care about the people who buy their products, well, then you should look elsewhere. We're lucky today to have so many different brands that come out with amazing products. If you guys do not have a positive experience with a brand, move on. Don't waste your time. Do not give them your money or time of day. They do not deserve it. I think that all brands should value their customers, and that goes through customer service. Now, I don't say it's impossible for brands to not have issues with products, right? You could have had a bad batch, for example, and the person applies the product and there's something wrong. It's supposed to last 6 months and it barely lasted a week. So we're not talking it lasted 3 or 4 weeks and there are other variables. We're saying that clearly there's something wrong. So reach out, and there's lot numbers on the bottles. They can kind of check what went down on the production line and offer a solution. For me, as long as a brand realizes and acknowledges your presence and that there was an issue and they try to fix it, well, that's a thumbs up in my book, because that's what we want ultimately, for the relationships to be positive between the brand and the end consumer. What else do we have? We have the love for the brand. So I spoke about that a bit before, but that is crucial. So over the years, think about your favorite actor or your favorite sports team. That's a big one. So your die-hard fans. I know my brother, for example, he loves hockey. Andrew, by the way, if you're watching this, I love my brother. So he loves hockey, and obviously being from Montreal, Canada, he is a die-hard fan of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I like hockey, but I came to a realization that I don't know if I'm going to see another Stanley Cup or championship with that team in my life. The last one was in 1993, and they have been pretty much horrible or subpar or average since then. So a lot of decades without winning a championship. But my brother loves them so much, regardless of how bad or how well they do. He is sticking to them like there's no tomorrow. They can do no wrong. He's a fan. He watches all the games and still collects the tickets from the matches that he attends to. He has them in a booklet, and he's just a die-hard fan. And that is super important for a brand, by the way. When you have customer loyalty like that, that means the world to them, and ultimately that's what they would like. So sometimes they might not have the best products of everything that you're looking for in their lineup, but you like what the brand stands for, you like the customer service that they gave you, you like their packaging, whatever the reasons are, you just fell in love with a brand, and for you it's important to have their entire lineup. Well, you know what? That's fine. And like I said, the opposite is fine as well. If you want to make sure that you're open to all brands because you're just curious to see what everybody does, and you're like me, you love receiving packages from UPS and FedEx and all the ground transport or air transport that bring you stuff, and you want to just get into your garage as quickly as possible or go outside and start testing, right? I mean, look, I'm smiling just because I know what other products that are waiting for me to test, and I'm like a kid in a candy store. It's just nonstop. I love doing that. So hopefully you share that sentiment, by the way. And so yeah, this is going to lead me to talk about my second point, which is, so if you have all those measurables and you have all those subjective ways to find the best products as well, how do you find the best product? So there are many, many ways. The first one being, do your research, guys. So we're lucky in today's world. We have social media. You have YouTube. There are tons of awesome YouTube creators out there that make fantastic, top-notch detailing reviews and tutorials and how-tos and discussions, and you can look at them work. You can learn a lot from them. So there are hundreds of detailing channels on YouTube. By the way, I'm curious to know, would you like me to reveal in a video which ones I love watching the most, which channels I like the most? Let me know. Again, drop a comment in the comment section. So there are, a bunch of good creators. I'm friends with, all the ones that are nice people out there and that do good stuff and that bring positivity to the community. It's just awesome. So you have YouTube that you can search for, and never base yourself, or you have yourself some Facebook groups as well. There are a lot of good Facebook groups for detailing. You have some detailing forums as well that exist, and a bunch of resources that when I started detailing 24 years ago, in the mid-90s, let's say, when I was still a young teen at 16, now I'm 40 years old, the big old 40. So we didn't have access to all that. So maybe a few bulletin board systems, the BBS boards, remember that? Or a few car forums where we'd exchange thoughts and opinions. And then slowly but surely, some detailing forums started to see life, and so on and so forth, until the advent of YouTube, where now you can look and watch and learn. And every time you have a question, right, go on YouTube, first reflex. How do you do this? How do you do that? Boom, you go on YouTube. And there's a lot of good content creators out there. So regardless of which media you like to use, always look for different sources. So you see what one person says, or you have opinions from one group, well, go to another group, go to another YouTuber, go to another web page, and gather a bunch of information. I know that's what I like to do. Despite operating a YouTube channel, believe it or not, every day I still spend time to go on YouTube and to watch what all of my friends are doing out there. I want to have different opinions. I want to see what's going on. Is there something new that I wasn't aware of? That's super important, keeping up to date with the latest stuff. And that will help initiate my thoughts on a product. Now, your next thing is going to be to look for some real world tests, right? Or panel tests. But again, you have to take those with a grain of salt, and you're going to see why later, because there are many variables. So you can't assume because you see one person doing a test on a hood that's sitting in back of a shed or a garage all day in a specific zone or a specific climate, or even somebody who used a real world vehicle, because sometimes I like to do that too, is use a real world test with a vehicle. Well, that's going to tell my viewers or myself how that vehicle would react in my conditions, my climate, my environment. And again, there are going to be many variables, and you guys are going to understand why. So this is just one of the indicators. So those are a few factors. And then you can ultimately too, is the best way to make up your mind is, you guessed it, do your own testing. So my routine is, once I've gone through the different social media, I've went through YouTube, I saw what the others had to say about something. So it kind of made up my mind, you know what, I think that brand or that product is worth a shot. Now let me try and test. So ultimately, guys, it's your money. You decide what is best for you. You're the king of your decision. And ultimately, we're just here to help you make better purchase decisions by giving you information that you might not know of through the years of experience that we have, or through the thousands and hundreds of products that we test over the years. Well, you kind of get to have kind of the pulse of what's going on in the industry. You get to talk to brands as well, the chemists. I know I love to have interviews with them, or just pick their minds on and their brains on what's going on. So ultimately, you do the testing. So unless it's something that costs $1,000 there, if it's a product that costs 10, 20 bucks, if in the end it doesn't work for you, well, you know what? It's not the end of the world. And there are not that many absolutely horrible products. Are there garbage products? Absolutely. Are there a lot that do not meet my criteria? Yeah. Over 80% of the products that I test do not make my videos. Why? Because I'm just too obsessed with this. I have access to all this. I mean, I've spent, I don't know how much in my entire life. If you even look at my early videos, my first videos on YouTube, my cupboards were full of products, and that was maybe 10% of my collection. I had products all over the place. So tens of thousands of dollars in products and equipment. And so I'm talking by experience. And so, but there are a lot of good ones as well. And so I just don't want to present okay. I like to present very good ones, but very good ones according to my user experience and my thoughts and my opinions. So it's up to you then to make your own opinion up on something that you would like to purchase. Ultimately, purchase it, try it. And you know what? If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. Nobody's going to hold you accountable for that. Just move on to something else until you do find something that you like. And because if you had kept that same product, right? If I look at what I liked 25 years ago or 20 years ago, they're definitely not the same as the products that I like today. Things evolve quickly. Even 5 years ago, I look at the evolution of my shelves and they're completely different. So there are a lot of new products, a lot of new brands. Innovation gets pushed to crazy new heights. And ultimately, it's up to you to make the testing and find something cool. Grab a few products, go with your friends, have fun. Reunite yourselves, a little group, have them bring their products over as well, and do A/B comparisons and see what works best for you. What you might like might not be something that the other person like, and vice versa, right? They might love a product that you might not like. I see this happen all the time. So I see my YouTuber friends or some other detailing professionals or anybody, they tell me, oh, I love this product. It's absolutely awesome. I come home, I buy it, or I get it from a brand and I test it, and ultimately, for me, it doesn't quite do it for different reasons, because it depends, again, what are your priorities? What do you look for in a product and what you consider being a good product? And the other way around too, sometimes I'll test some products that work super well for me. Like there can be a spray sealant that gives amazing gloss and slickness. It'll only last maybe 3 to 4 weeks. It's not made to be super durable, but I don't mind about durability because I already know I have a base layer of a very durable ceramic coating on my car. So what I'm looking for as far as a topper goes is to increase the gloss and slickness. But for another person who does not have a base layer of a ceramic coating, maybe that's their base protection and they're not happy with 3 weeks. So they're not going to like that. Even if I try to tell them, but it's amazing, I love it. Well, they're going to say, no, it sucks. I don't like that. It doesn't do it for me. And you know what? That's fine too. So as long as you guys look for something that you test, you love, and you use, the most important is to go out there. A lot of detailers will tell you that, or YouTubers out there. The most important thing at the end of the day is to use the products that you love and use them often. That's it. So on to the next topic now, the variables. So this is probably the biggest one, and there's a lot of stuff that you're hopefully going to learn today. And so what variables influence the results that you're getting? Whether it's durability, chemical resistance, the gloss, the slickness, the hydrophobic properties, all that kind of stuff. So one person A might apply a product. A person B in another city, another country, different car, different world, applies the same product, but they both get different results. Why is that? So in theory, shouldn't everybody have the same experience with that same product? Well, the answer is no. I don't know if it comes as a shock, but let me say why. Because there are many variables. There are many things that you cannot control. The first one being the preparation and the application. So the prep. If a person just washes their car, dries it, and applies a paint protectant, for example, well, there's a high chance that you will not reach the maximum performance and durability for that product because God knows what is on your paintwork. Especially on older cars, they could have been exposed to the elements, to brake dust, to rail dust, industrial fallout, tree sap, bug guts, acid deposits or mineral deposits from acid rain, water spots, and so on and so forth. So that contamination that's in your paintwork prevents the protection from properly bonding with your paintwork. So that's one thing. That's just the contamination side. The next side is there can be some oxidation on your paint as well. There can be some swirl marks, some scratches, holograms, buffer trails, a bunch of stuff. So when you look closely at your paint with either an inspection light or with an appropriately lit environment, you're going to notice that there are a lot of imperfections. Now, not only do those not look good visually, but heavy oxidation can prevent proper bonding of a paint protectant on the vehicle. So that's to be known. And then there's also the fact where at the end of all that, if you did some machine polishing, for example, and the majority of polishes and compounds contain some oils and lubricants and a bunch of other chemicals that might interfere with the bonding, especially when we're talking about ceramic coatings and graphene coatings. Those need to bond directly to virgin clear coat. And how you ensure that after machine polishing is you're using an IPA wipe, isopropyl alcohol mix, or a paint prep from a given company that has the coating as well. So that's going to remove any polishing oils or residue, so you get that squeaky clean surface, right, before you apply your paint protection on. So that's how you're going to get the maximum durability and the maximum performance out of your product. So if a person doesn't prepare and the next person does prepare the surface, you can imagine how different that will be. Then there's the application. So are you following the instructions properly, or are you going off label? So I know for many, it might sound stupid, right? I mean, it's a pot of wax. How hard can it be? I slap it on there and then I buff it off and that's it. Well, there are differences between products, whether it's a wax, a paint sealant, a silica spray sealant, a graphene coating, a ceramic coating. There's a reason why the chemists come up with instructions, and you do have to follow them to a T. So if you look at a wax, for example, more and more now you're going to find waxes infused with ceramics inside. Some might need a minute to cure, some might need 30 minutes on the panel, some might need overnight before buffing off. So if you want a proper bond or adhesion of the product to the surface, if we look at ceramic coatings or graphene coatings, there are things that are called flashing points. So basically when you're applying that resin delivered and solvent carried product onto your surface, there's a part of it that wants to evaporate and leave the solids behind to start curing to create that semi-permanent layer of protection. Well, you're going to see a color change. We typically call that rainbowing. Some have a sweating effect, so a bubbling of the product. And basically, it gives you a visual cue that it's time to level the coating, not buff off. We call that leveling for ceramic coatings. You want an even distribution. And then it's going to start curing. Some need an hour to cure, some need 24 hours, no exposure to rain, for example. Some might need 48 hours. So there's a reason that the instructions are there, and you guys have to follow them. Once you get to test the product and to understand how it works, and you've had a lot of go-arounds with it, then you can start using off-label use. So not before that though. When you get the product, take a second, read the instructions. Believe me, this is going to help you get the most out of the product. Remember, at the end of the day, that's your money, right? So you want to get the most out of your money, and to get the most out of that, you have to follow proper procedures. Next, we have the what conditions you're applying the product in. Oh boy, is this so important. So guys, I'm lucky enough in my controlled garage. I control the temperature, the humidity, I control all the factors. So typically I'll be anywhere from 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, which is 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And those are what are called optimal conditions to work in, as far as the chemicals being at their best and at their most predictable as far as behavior goes when you're using them. So that's the kind of agreement in the detailing community for the chemists that create those. There's kind of a consensus that those are the optimal temperatures. And of course, humidity, you want to be in the 40 to 45% humidity range. That's ideal. Same for your home. That's the kind of percentage, 35 to 45. In a garage, maybe 40 to 45 if you can control it. Of course, if you're working outside, you have less of a control, but that's why always work in the shade if you have to work outside. That's fine, by the way, if you want to detail outside. As long as you don't do it on a hot surface, try to avoid direct sunlight. So do it very early on in the morning or very late in the afternoon, especially when you're washing your car. It'll avoid water spotting. It will avoid the products drying on you too quickly. You're just going to have a better experience. And try to do it on a cooler day if possible. So those are one variables. So ideally try to control those as much as you can. Just keep in mind though, if you're not in optimal conditions, the products themselves react differently as well. If we look at coatings, well, if you have a higher temperature or you have higher humidity, they can cure faster. So the flashing time that you're going to have to look for is going to be a lot quicker. So it might not be 2 minutes for everyone. For some, it might be 30 seconds. So you have to look, observe, take your time and do things right. The next thing probably is geography. So location. One cannot expect the same results from a vehicle that drives, let's say, in California weather or in Texas weather, where it's nice and beautiful the majority of the time, compared to countries like Canada with our disgusting, horrible, filthy winters. Yeah, you can tell I hate winter, where we get sub-zero temperatures that can reach all the way down to like minus 45. If I look at my buddy Rick from Rad Garage there in Calgary, I think they reached minus 40, minus 45 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much that is in degrees Fahrenheit, but it's tremendous. So warmer climates might have a better opportunity to see a longer durability from a product compared to colder climates. If I look at Northern Europe as well, we have a lot of countries like Canada again, where we use a lot of road salts, a lot of chemicals on the roads. So that will definitely affect the durability of a product more than it would in a warmer or more gentle climate. That goes to say. Talking about climate and location, there are other factors like what is the vehicle submitted to? Is it a daily driver that sleeps outside all day and is exposed to the elements? Or is it a weekend-only driven car that stays in a garage all day? So the latter, if you're in a nice area where the vehicle is only driven on weekends and it's garage kept or is a garage queen, it's not going to be exposed to the elements, no UV ray exposure, no damage, no hail, no sleet, no snow, no rain, all that stuff. Well, obviously, the protection that's on there is probably going to last a lot longer compared to a vehicle that is daily driven in horrible conditions. Once again, Northern Europe, I look at Sweden, Norway, all those countries, Canada as well, in the northern parts or in provinces like we have here in Quebec, Canada. And yeah, many other countries just exposed to horrible weather. Or also the opposite, if you're into countries where you might have a desert and that you live in and they reach crazy hot temperatures that are baking on the surface. Well, carnauba wax, for example, doesn't have that high of a flashing point. So it starts melting and degrading actually pretty quickly. As soon as it reaches like a very, very hot day, the temperatures of the panels on the body exceed that of what you feel. And so that wax essentially is going to evaporate eventually or break down heavily. Even ceramic coatings have their own limits, right? They have a much higher threshold, obviously, but those are other factors. So climate is a big one. But also if it's a daily driver or a weekend driver and what kind of conditions it's exposed to. The more mileage you do in a year as well, well, obviously the more you're going to be exposed to things and well, the more wear you're going to have on your products. That's important. Next, are you taking care of your car yourself or are you bringing it to an automatic car wash? Eureka, right? Well, and let me explain why. So I always recommend that people take care of their own vehicles by themselves at home using proper cleaning and drying or washing and drying techniques because, believe it or not, the majority of the love marks that we call, so those are the minor swirls and scratches and marring that you get on your paint over time that accumulates, well, that's through improper washing and drying techniques. So if you use a proper method, and that's up to you to decide whether you have a rinseless wash with multiple towels or a 2-bucket wash or a 3-bucket wash like I have. So I have 1 bucket for the wheels separate from the rest. I don't like cross-contamination. And then I have 2 buckets for the paint, one with the soapy solution and one with clear water to rinse your mitt. And that kind of stuff. Don't use brushes to clean your car, by the way. You wouldn't want to do that, so you're inducing swirls and scratches. So basically, if you watch my videos, you're going to find all the proper safe washing and drying techniques, but that's to keep in mind. So doing it yourself the proper way, you have a much higher chance of keeping that product going for long. The opposite though, why I tell people do not use automatic car washes, guys, especially not the ones with brushes and bristles. It makes me cringe just thinking about it, and I'm sure the ones of you who value your vehicles as well, just think of that, those rollers just brushing the car. So the mechanical agitation combined with those brushes and bristles and synthetic nylon or whatever they're made out of, those are what create major swirl marks and damage to your paint. So it's abrasion. Not only would it strip away waxes and sealants over time, but it can also degrade or eventually break down ceramic coatings and graphene coatings. Because yes, guys, ceramic coatings and graphene coatings are not impervious to scratches and swirls. Contrary to what some companies might make you believe, that's just pure marketing BS to me, they will not protect your vehicle against scratches and swirls and stone chips. Those are wives' tales. That's not true. If you want ultimate stone chip and scratch protection, you apply PPF, paint protection film, those clear bras, right? That's what you apply first. And then you'd apply a ceramic coating on top for UV protection, gloss, slickness, hydrophobic properties, beading, sheeting, all that kind of stuff. So they both play different roles in their own categories. So yeah, that mechanical abrasion will break down with the rollers in the automatic car washes, even your ceramic coatings, because abrasion is what removes coatings. Remember that machine polishing is one of the only ways to ensure 100% removal of any paint protectants, especially if you have a durable ceramic coating. Chemicals are not going to remove ceramic coatings typically, so you want mechanical abrasion with machine polishing. Well, the same goes when you're at the car wash. If you have abrasion, well, abrasion means you're going to be removing the protection eventually or breaking it down to a point where it's not as efficient. The other point why I don't like automatic car washes is way too often, and that's maybe more the touchless ones, they have no choice to use very caustic or high pH, high alkaline level soaps and degreasers because they can't touch your vehicle. So they have to have strong chemicals to break down road film, dirt, and remove that off your vehicle. So once again, that's going to easily remove or break down heavily older waxes and paint sealants because they just don't have the chemical resistance. And on ceramic coatings, depending on the pH range that they resist, if your coating resists up to pH 11 and they use a detergent that's pH 12, well, guess what? It's going to be damaged. So you paid a lot of money to have your coating installed, or your coating you installed yourself and you're paying a lot of money. Do not do that. So if you have no other choice, I understand some people might not have access to water. You can use a rinseless wash or a waterless wash. Waterless wash is my least favorite of the alternatives. So a rinseless wash is better and safer compared to a waterless. But if you have no other ways and you have to do something, well, you know what? Instead of bringing your vehicle to the automatic car wash 4 times a month, so once a week, why don't you do that once a month and pay a professional detailer to do it for you? A bunch of them are watching my channel, by the way. Much respect to that craft. You guys work like crazy. They work hard. We have to encourage them. So go see somebody that's qualified for that. A detailer will take care of the details. Your vehicle will not only look way better, believe me, but you're not going to get all that abrasion or those chemicals used that shouldn't be used on vehicles. So that's one alternative that you have. Next, there's the maintenance regimen. So in the factors or the variables, once again, we talk about maintenance. So it's one thing to install your protection, but if you think that you're just going to set it and forget it, well, it's not going to work. Regardless of what paint protection you have on there, there's going to be a point where you're going to need some form of topper. Yes, there are very, very expensive coatings. We're talking now over $1,500 US and more for a service that will last many, many years and technically do not need any toppers. But again, those are very, very costly. But in the realm of products costing $10 to $150 that you guys can purchase yourselves that are not pro installed or that you don't need authorized dealers for, there's a maintenance regimen. So typically, if we look at waxes or paint sealants, you're going to want to use some type of quick detailer or speed wax when you're done washing your car as a drying aid. You're going to boost gloss, you're going to boost slickness. Again, that's part of the safe drying method to dry your car with a lubricant. So don't dry drag your towel on the paint. Use some form of a quick detail spray or a spray wax, sorry. And so some form of maintenance for that. And basically once every month or 2 months, why don't you add another fresh layer? So the Carnauba wax will only last 2 to 3 months. So don't wait until the last moment before you replenish it. Take a few minutes and add a fresh layer and you're going to be super happy. With ceramic coatings or graphene coatings, we use maintenance products or toppers that are either silica infused, SiO2, or silicon dioxide, or in the case of graphene coatings now, you can use silica spray sealants on them as well, or some graphene spray sealants to maintain, or graphene quick detailers. And what you're doing is basically you're boosting the properties. So not only are you adding gloss and slickness, but you're making sure that you're kind of replenishing the protection to boost that level of protection to keep peak performance going. And that way, visually, you're gonna have better hydrophobic properties, the water beading, the water sheeting, or whatever your product does. And you're basically gonna help maintain that performance peak, right? So instead of the performance dropping, when you're doing regular maintenance on a coating, it's roughly once every 2 to 3 months that you want to apply a topper. You can do it more often if you want. I know I like to use a drying aid basically after every wash on my ceramic coated car because I just love using products and I love the effect. I love the slickness. I just love that super highly detailed, perfect look when you're done washing your vehicle. So the more you take care of your car, well, guess what? The longer the product is going to last. So there you go. There are so many variables that you saw that are different. So Two people cannot compare their results from one to another, and just don't base yourself on one fact. So it's not because a panel test will reveal that this product lasted longer that it's going to work for you in your environment. It doesn't mean because a chemical resistance test said that a product was fantastic that you're going to like that product. Maybe it's not glossy, maybe it's not slick, maybe it was super hard to apply, and you know what? You're not going to get pleasure of enjoying it, and you're just not going to like the experience. Well, you're obviously not going to be inclined to want to buy that product again. So there are many factors and many variables and many things to consider when you're buying a product before you find what your holy grail is. So talking about that, so the fourth topic is there a holy grail? Is there such a thing as either the best brand or the best product? Well, I think if you've made it this far, the simple answer is no, there isn't. If there was a holy brand, or if there was the best product, every company would close up shop, throw the key away, and that's it, they're out of business. Because there would be only one brand with the best products in the entire world, and it would be game over for everybody else. All of the brands that are worth it out there are garbage brands. Yes, there are quite a few, but the majority, they're good. So they at least produce good, very good, or exceptional products. And that's what we're trying to see is what they can come up with. And it's not because a company 2, 3, 15 years ago wasn't necessarily on your radar. Well, that doesn't mean they're always going to be a company to avoid. They can come up with new stuff, new employees, or new ways of thinking, or some revival that came up with, hey, one product sparked another, or feedback that they took from their audience after sitting on their laurels maybe for years, and they finally woke up and saw the competition around them, and they're like, oh my God, that's a lot of technology, a lot of innovation. What have we been doing? And so they get back to the drawing books, they come up with new materials, new compounds, new technology, new chemicals as well. Things evolve even in the chemical industry. So we have access now to coatings, which became a thing maybe 5, 6 years ago, but 20 years ago, if you would find one good wax and good sealant, good luck. The majority was not that good, and you had to pay big bucks to find something good. Today, you can have a spray product for $6 that will give you at least 6 months of protection, crazy durability, crazy gloss that you can pick up in your local hardware store. You don't even have to order it online. I mean, accessibility to good products has never been better. So we're lucky to live in this world today. So there are a bunch of products out there, but I don't think there's a holy grail, because once again, I think there'd be no other business. What you have to do is find your holy grail. And what that means is what your priorities are. So once again, I'm going to ask you that question that I asked at the beginning, and I want to hear your answer now. Maybe that evolved when you were hearing the topics in this video and that changed. So what are your most important criteria? Maybe list 5 of them. What are you looking for in a product before you make a purchase decision? It's always good for even brands to see how people go ahead and make a purchasing decision. So I'd be curious to know, and I'm sure they'll be reading and find your comments very interesting. I think this is going to be a good social experiment. So go down there, drop the comments, hit the like button too, by the way, to show the support and to hopefully promote this video. Share it with friends, family, on your Facebook groups, social media, whatever. We got to get the discussion going, because this is how we push as customers the brands to keep making better products. If we put more pressure, if we tell them what we want, if we tell them what we don't want, they're going to understand that and focus on their customers. That is, again, brands, if you're watching out there, let me get closer because I know you are. Take notes. The smart ones, they have their folks listening to all these videos, listening to content creators, but more importantly, listening to the audiences that we have. There's a reason why you guys watch my videos and the videos of my colleagues on YouTube, is that you share a common passion, right? Clearly, if you watch detailing videos, well, you're watching for a reason. That's because you love detailing cars. Yes, there is the odd exception. I remember some people just writing, I don't even know why I'm watching this video. I don't even own a car. I find those hilarious. But even at that, they found the experience soothing enough that they're like, let me watch this. Let me watch this guy detail a car to perfection. And he seems to have a blast using 50, 100,000 different products. It's just curiosity, right? Look at your neighbors, by the way. I'm sure when you spend 4, 5, 10 hours with your vehicle outside, if they look at you go and they're like, what is this guy? Is he nuts? Well, this community that we built of over 612,000 subscribers at the time of this recording, we're mid-April right now. Well, there's a reason. It's because here we built a community of people that love to share the same common passion, and we don't judge each other. We actually encourage, share tips, tricks, and things to move forward and to keep enjoying and doing what we're doing. And you're not crazy, by the way. You can say it's Pan approved. If you have a passion for detailing, I think there's something right about your life, because usually people that love detailing have some sort of way to organize their lives, and they're clean people. They love cleanliness. They like well-organized things. They like driving a nice car because it's the second biggest expense, right, after your home. And so if you want to protect that expense, because it's a depreciating factor, it's not an investment unless you have a collector's car. But as soon as you drive off the dealer lot, boom, it starts depreciating. So might as well protect it. And just, I think driving a clean-looking car feels better. Don't you? Do you agree, by the way? If you agree that driving a clean car feels so much better, there's something about it, let me know. Drop a comment. Okay, now the last topic, the durability. So whose responsibility is it, first of all? Well, ultimately, I was having this discussion with a few brands, actually, and a lot of them were smart. They're like, you know what, Pan? It's not up to you guys to own up to that for the durability claims. It's not up to you to promise to people that this should last 6 months or 12 months. They're like, you know what? That belongs to us. We're the brand. We're the ones that do the testing. We're the ones that put out those claims. And if there are brands that put out claims that make no sense, well, they're eventually going to choke and die because, well, people are going to realize that they're complete lies and they're not going to want to purchase that product again. So he says, let the brands own up to their durability claims. And I fully agree. If a brand tells me that their product should last 6 to 12 months, well, that's what I'm expecting. Now, with this video, you understand the factors and the variables that come into play, but there's still a reasonable amount of time or some leeway in there that should be reasonable. So if they tell you 6 months, in real world, I'm expecting roughly 3 to 4, and I'll be happy. If they promise 1 year of durability, anything upwards of 8 months of durability in my world, my conditions with the elements that we have here in Montreal, Canada, is fine as well. What I am not fine with is if they promise 1 year and you only get 3 weeks. That is horrible. So let them own up to that, and they have to be accountable for the claims that they put out there, which is super important. And talking about those claims, I mean, I know there's been a lot of questions that you guys ask, like, how do they even come up with these claims? How does a company say, well, this product lasts 6 months or this product lasts 1 year? You're going to get 5 years out of this coating. And I've had that discussion time and time again with many chemists in the industry from different brands, either from third-party blenders or from chemists in brands, because some do blend their own products. And you can see a few of those interviews, by the way, on my channel. It's always super fun to pick those brains. Once again, much respect for the chemists and scientists that are working on these products. It is not easy. It's not an easy task, by the way. Lots of smart people out there working on these, and they're trying their best, believe me, because the competition is always at level 11. There's always somebody somewhere coming up with something better and newer, and you have to stay up to date with all the tech and formulations and, yeah, health and safety as well, right? So, that's one thing I've asked them is, how do you guys come up with those claims? So if people are curious, well, first of all, there's no standards. So maybe that's one thing that could improve in the industry is come up with a standard for at least the durability part. I know that's hard because, again, why? There are many variables and many different things that you have to take into consideration before coming up with those claims. But what I know many have told me is that when you're looking at a durability claim, usually that's approximately the normal estimate for something that you'd be getting when sometimes you might be getting more. For example, a 5-year coating. For the brand, that coating in their tests might last up to 7 years, but that's in optimal conditions with proper application, with no user error, and the correct environment, and it's not in a harsh environment. So that's where you reach the peak or the maximum durability claim. But so they don't get knocked by viewers, sometimes they'll lower the expectation. So they know it's a 7-year coating, but they'll market it as a 5-year coating just to stay on the safe side. It could be a 1-year paint protectant. They'll market it as a 6-month paint protectant, again, to not disappoint the customer. But so how do they establish those rules for the durability or how long it lasts? There's a lot of different tests. One that is often used is the wash cycles. So what they say is like the average person, they come up with an average through different surveys and studies that are out there or surveying their own customers. They'll notice, for example, that an average person, not the Pan TheOrganizer viewers that we wash. I wash my car twice a week, by the way. That's the craziness, sometimes more. So the average person might clean their car or wash their car twice per month. So that means 24 times a year. And in a span of 5 years, that means 120 times. So what they do is they apply the product on a test panel, because obviously if they claim, let's say 5 years, they're not going to wait 5 years to test the product before they release their product on the market. You can imagine like it already be obsolete. There would be something new to test, right? So they have to find accelerated ways to make those tests. And so they're going to apply the product on the test panel and go through wash cycles. So either friction dragging with some sort of an imitation of either a sponge, a wash mitt with some soap and that kind of stuff. And they're going to go through those cycles. So if they think a person in 5 years will wash their car 120 times, if they use that friction / abrasion with the soapy and the lubrication and the wash mitt or whatever media they have on that panel, and they replicate those 120 washes, if at the end they still see the product that's on there, they have different measurement ways, but even visually, I mean, if you see the hydrophobic properties are still intact or still there, well, you can kind of get a guesstimate, right? So that is one way that they have to kind of come up with these as scientific as they can kind of ways. But another way that they have, and this is, well, in part due to the way YouTubers have done crazy stuff for testing. I know a lot of popular stuff that have been going around in the past probably 2 or 3 years especially are chemical resistance tests. So I'm one guilty party. I've done a few of those. And I think for me, it's more for entertainment values, because I would never submit my own vehicle, although I did in one of those tests. I submitted my own BMW to a barrage or an onslaught of different chemicals. But you would never do that in real life. But yeah, okay, maybe you'd have a bit of traffic film, or maybe you'd have an oil spill somewhere that might splash on your vehicle, or maybe you had a bit of overspray from your acidic wheel cleaning solution that goes onto your paintwork, or who knows what else. So there might be traces of some chemicals and you want to see if the paint resists. Okay, for some it might be important. But so those chemical resistance tests now, what they push those brands to do, because those brands were noticing like, our product is failing those tests. And unfortunately, some people are basing their purchasing decision only on the chemical resistance tests. Never do that, guys. Do not base yourself only on durability tests on panels. Do not base yourselves only on chemical resistance tests. Do not base yourselves only on gloss readings. Do not base yourself only on the opinion of the YouTuber. Remember what we said all through this video, right? There are many, many things you have to take into consideration, and ultimately it's your purchasing decision. We're just trying to help you to make the best purchase decision. So those brands now started tweaking, modifying their products to make them more efficient in those tests. Same thing goes if you look at the car world, because I love fast cars. I've owned a few of those in my life. You've probably seen my new vehicle, hopefully by this time on this channel, one of the fastest production cars in the world from 0 to 60, or on the quarter mile as well. Something crazy, my first supercar. So what a lot of companies have done as well is they understood that magazines like Motor Trend, Road and Track, and you name your favorite ones, they love testing the quarter mile. They love testing the 0 to 60 miles an hour or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, the quick accelerations. So they changed the gearing of the transmission, the way the engine responds, and all that kind of stuff to try and get the most out of those numbers, because numbers at the end of the day, yes, they sell, right? They help sell vehicles. It's bragging rights. You have the fastest car or one of the fastest cars. You have a 10-second quarter mile car, or you have a sub 3-second car that accelerates from 0 to 60. Those are tremendous numbers, and numbers sell. So the same thing with the chemical detailing industry, or the detailing products industry, I should say, is that they found a way to kind of tweak the products to push the barriers as well and to make them more chemical resistant. But that sometimes, through my discussions again with some of those chemists that will share this information without disclosing secrets or industry secrets, is that, well, Pan, if we're boosting the chemical resistance, we're going to have to sacrifice somewhere. If we're looking for ultimate durability, well, you know what? There might be a hit in slickness and gloss, or the opposite is true. If we're going for just pure candy gloss, wet look, and max slickness, well, the durability might take a hit, so you might not get maximum protection. So it's always a question of compromise, right? They kind of find the right dose or balance with what they believe the customer might want. And ultimately, you tell them what they want with your dollars. It's your purchasing power that makes them focus on new trends, new technologies. You'll notice when one company comes out with something nice that's been selling well, they all jump on that, right? The spray-on, rinse-off products have been quite the craze in the past year and a half. So when they saw that one company was selling tons of them, everybody jumped on. So that's a good thing too, because it might push that product to become even better. So it started off as being a good innovation. Well, now it's something that you really should consider purchasing, right? So that's one of the good things. And I mean, how can we conclude? First of all, I hope you enjoyed all this information. I hope I didn't bore you to death. I always try to be as entertaining as possible. I don't even know how I don't have, I'm not sure I have any saliva left at this point. I'm going to need a big glass of water. This was all done pretty much in one take too. It's just my passion spewing through. I love talking about detailing. I dream about detailing. I talk about detailing. I respond to comments about detailing all day. It's become beyond an obsession at this point. I need help. I'm obsessed with car detailing. So yeah, in conclusion, guys, there is not one best product. There is not just one good detailing product. There are many out there. And at the end of the day, we as consumers are lucky to have that. Don't think that's not a good thing. That is a great thing. It pushes prices to be more competitive. It pushes those companies to come out with better products consistently and more often. It pushes the companies to innovate more, look into new technologies. Look at how, listen, 25 years ago, all you had was a crappy little spray. Nobody would even consider sprays, right? In the day, it was either this thick paint sealant or a thick carnauba wax, and sprays were garbage. Well, now sprays have come so far. Out of a $10 bottle, you can get 6 to 12 months of protection. Are you kidding me? How much innovation is that? That is awesome. That would have never happened when I was a teen. Forget it. So it keeps pushing them to coming out with new products, pushing the innovation, staying competitive as well. And we welcome new brands all the time as consumers. We love that. Some come out with a different marketing twist. Some have tried to push the industry to go above and beyond, to think outside that box, right? There's not just 1 or 2 product offerings per brand now. I mean, some brands have 50, 100, 200 products. Some of you guys, by the way, some of the brands out there, if I can give a message, you're making this too complicated. Nobody needs 50 different waxes and 72 different soaps. Don't try and make me believe that. Keep it simple for the consumer. I don't need to have the same soap in 12 different colors and 52 different scents. Does that make any sense to you guys? It doesn't. So I like simplicity. That's one thing that I like. Simplicity in brands. Keep it simple, and just keep pushing to have the best products out there, and to keep us on the fence of what is the next best thing, what is the next greatest thing. I cannot wait to test that next best or that newest thing, because I want to make my own mind up at the end of the day, and find the next products that will make it onto my shelf, and that will also ultimately make it into my annual Car Detailing Products Awards video. So for those of you who might be new to my channel, every single year for four straight years now, I've been coming out with my top 3 detailing products in each category: best waxes, best paint sealants, best graphene coatings, best ceramic coatings, best shampoos, wheel cleaners, interior dressings, leather coatings, leather dressings, blah, 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 all that stuff. So many categories. And you can see the evolution of that. There's always new brands. And I think this year, so the 2021 Pan TheOrganizer Car Detailing Products Awards video is not only going to be the best one ever, but the one where things get shaken up the most. Because I find this year that the innovation has been tremendous. Even though we're in this pandemic with COVID, I've never seen companies be so thoughtful of their users, look for feedback, improve, come out with new stuff, new ways of using products as well. So thumbs up, by the way. So as consumers, what we can do is applaud those brands and hope they all continue to continue to impress us and to surprise us. We all love to be surprised, and who knows what the future holds. But my awards video, by the way, for those who are wondering, towards the end of August or beginning of September. So that's when they happen every single year. This year is going to be the 5th edition, and stay tuned. So if you enjoyed this, if you have anything to add, by the way, are there factors or topics that I forgot to talk about on how we should determine what the best product is? Drop a comment, in the comment section under the video. Let's have this discussion. I'm curious to know what you have to say, and the brands will definitely be looking to what you guys have to say. And we're gonna have this kind of as a survey, if you want, or this social experiment of the huge amount of subscribers and followers on my channel that can just leave their feedback. This is your time to be heard. Take that opportunity and let them have it. Stay positive, guys. This is positive interactions. That's what I want. And we got to encourage them to keep making that stuff. So, because if we want to keep our dreams alive and our passions and our hobbies going, or if it's your job as a professional detailer, well, we need those companies to come through for us and keep on pushing forward and coming out with these fantastic products. So share this video, again, friends, family, your social media, messaging boards, wherever you are, forums, Facebook, Twitter, just pass the message on. Let's get the discussion going. And I cannot wait to see what those brands are going to come out with. So far, it's been awesome. I loved my journey on YouTube for these 5 years that I've been on YouTube, by the way. So I don't know when this video pops up, but the 26th of April 2016 is when my first video came out. You guys saw the evolution of my channel. Thank you, by the way, for those who have been following me for all these years through the thick and thin. You saw the channel evolved. We're using new camera gear now, new equipment. Hopefully this looks crispy. My man Marquez Brownlee from the tech channel that I absolutely love. He uses 8K cameras, but he'd be smart. He always calls it crispy, right? The image, he loves high picture quality. So I try to follow the footsteps of those who I think are doing a great job. And so hopefully you guys appreciate the videos. One way to show me your support is to smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you haven't done so yet, please consider click the subscribe button that's found under this video. And that way you'll subscribe to my channel and never miss my future videos. And you'll continue to learn more. I promise you that. Everything related to car detailing. So all the products, equipment, tips, tricks, and techniques. So guys, thanks for being there. Thanks for watching. And in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.